Is this a medieval fantasy about dragon-riding psychopaths who like deviant behavior and violence? Or is it a family drama about a king trying to raise his daughter in the height of Westerosi court life? I don't know, but in either case, I'm liking it. Welcome to Voice of the Fat Mantis as I review Episode 3 of House of the Dragon. It would appear that this show is living a dual life. It is having its cake and eating it too. A bulk of this episode is the drama between King Viserys and his daughter Rhaenyra, and all the things that have happened as a result of him marrying her best friend out of the blue and kind of reducing her status. And there's this father-daughter issues and drama and dilemma, and you would think that this is an episode of Reign or something you'd see on Channel 13. That's PBS if you need to know. But it wasn't. It was actually riveting and charming, and you almost forget that you're not in your standard Game of Thrones scenario until Daemon comes back late in the episode and very much reminds you that you are in the Game of Thrones. And I gotta say, I like both sides of it. I like all aspects of this. I'm really enjoying this just as a sheer story. And we're going to get directly into it as soon as I ask you, pretty much grovel, if you would like, share, and subscribe to this channel. I need more of you to join the Fat Mantis army so that we can have more reviews, more analysis, more shenanigans, and I won't have to work a day job maybe someday, maybe in the next decade or so. That would be dope. Anyway, moving on. It starts off with a cool dragon scene where the dragon is utterly annihilating the forces of the crab feeder. But unfortunately, along the stepstones, those are the islands that circle around Dragonstone, the people on board there hide in caves and are unable to be attacked fully when they retreat by the flames of a dragon bombardment. This is very similar to, say, Afghanistan, which is why it was so hard to hunt down terrorists back in those days. Fortunately, our buddies, Damien, is not doing great in the war. Now, we cut back to Westeros, and apparently 3 years has gone by. How do I know it's been 3 years? Because it seems that Alicent and the King already have a 2-year-old child and another one on board. So that's roughly around 3 years. And the story takes a new turn. It's about all the things that Rhaenyra has lost. She feels like she's lost her best friend. And this is encompasses in this great scene where the queen wants to be alone with her when she's hanging out in the garden under the Godswoods. And they tell a troubadour who's playing music to leave. And then Rhaenyra says, "No, I want you to stay." And he looks at them and he doesn't know who to answer to. But in the end, he chooses Alicent because she's the real queen. And that must be really heartbreaking for Rhaenyra to have to put up with that. The rest of the episode takes place during a hunt. Now, this is amazing and has to do a lot with like an ode to George R.R. Martin. Now, whether George R.R. Martin will ever be friends with HBO and the production staff ever again, I don't know. But back when the show was only like a minor success after season 1, George still went to Comic-Con, and I remember one panel, he's there, and somebody had asked him, they said, "Are there any scenes from season 1 that you just think wasn't done well, that you wish you could redo, or you think it was bad reimaged?" And he said, out of all of them, it's the hunting scene when Robert goes hunting. And people are like, why? Out of any scene they've changed, why? And he said, because when a king goes hunting, he brings in a giant entourage. He has 200 men surrounding him, and they have giant tents and bases and outposts. It is not just 3 dudes out in the woods hunting the way me and you would hunt. However, that's what they depicted. Robert goes out there. He's there with Renly, maybe 2 other people, and it's just really sad. It's ghetto hunting in the medieval times, which would never happen. And so they actually give George what he always wanted. If he's still watching, I don't know. But they actually give a massive hunting scene where all these knights and soldiers are out there. There's all these tents. And basically, Viserys, if you haven't noticed, is kind of a beta male. So he's not really active in the hunting. He just stays in the tents, gets drunk, and laments about having a daughter. He's constantly flip-flopping about whether he wants to keep his daughter's status or give it to his new son, which he's so very proud of. He believes this new son is the one he dreamed of. But then how could he do this? How could he reject his original wife, who is his true love, daughter. That's his connection to Emma, ultimately, like that. And he struggles with this greatly. However, he won't visibly let people know, because it seems that all the nobles in all the lands have ideas. The Lannisters think that she should marry a Lannister. Otto Hightower, as usually, gives the worst advice in human history and is like, you should just wed her to her little brother. And Viserys is like, bro, he's just 2 years old. Can you wait a minute? Can you wait for the kid's balls to drop? Everyone is suggesting different people. And once again, Lord Strong, the Master of Laws, is the only one to give him good advice. He's like, Lord Corlys, who, remember, is the sea serpent, he's like, he has a son. Fix the damage you did by not marrying his daughter by marrying his son to your daughter. They're closer in ages. You know, it's a better connection, and you can repair this wound that would repair the entire continent. And yet, still, you can tell that our idiot Viserys, the king, isn't sure if that's what he's going to do. Now, this all comes together beautifully in two juxtapositions. One is Rhaenyra and Sir Criston Cole go out, and they're doing their own thing out, and it's very romantic, and I just don't understand why they didn't sleep together. It would have been a very romantic scene. And she ends up slaying a boar with the help of Criston, and they're bloody, and they fought together, and there's this attraction, and they spend the night out in the woods. And then the next day, it's time for the king to get his hunt on, and they tell him the white stag, a creature they're hoping to sacrifice for the gods, on his son's birthday, which would be great for them. He goes out to kill it, and his knights have already caught it for him, and it's not actually a white stag. It's just you're playing over red or like brownish beige one. And they give him a spear, and everyone's kissing his ass, and they're like, kill it, kill it. And he even fails to kill it in one strike. Like some sort of crazy, weak beta sucker fool. He has to stab it repeatedly to kill a stag. It was just so sad. He can't even kill an animal that's restrained. How is he going to rule a kingdom? But meanwhile, Rhaenyra and Cole are on their way back, and they encounter the white stag. And Criston is going to kill it for her. And she says no. And she has a moment with the stag, and then it turns and it runs off. And it just kind of shows that her father is incapable of coming to decisions. He's incapable of even killing something that's tied up. He's failed to get the white stag. He's failed in every conceivable way. But his young daughter, who he doesn't seem to have faith in, goes out, is able to hunt and kill something with more efficiency than he could ever wish for, and ultimately has this connection. She even showed it mercy, showing that she would be a good, wise leader. I love that. That was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful. And then we move on to the final part of the episode, which we all just adore. And this is the part where our man Daemon does his thing. Now, what's really interesting about this is Daemon's in the last like 15 minutes of it. It's all war scenes. And there are scenes where he's not at war, but they're thinking about war. They're being manly men. And it's funny. He dominates this episode, his presence, and he never utters a single word. That's right. He never has a single line. There's a scene where he goes down there and he gets a message that his brother's going to like send him reinforcements out of like a gesture of peace. And he gets so pissed at this because he doesn't want his brother. We could just tell he doesn't have to say the line. He doesn't want his brother taking the credit for the war he's been fighting for two or 3 years. So he goes out there and he does a sacrificial play. He pretends to surrender, but instead it's really all a trap for them. They're sending the last of their troops to try to get the crab feeder out and defeat him. And it's a beautiful, fun action sequence. And in the end, Daemon Targaryen comes out of the cave. We don't see what happens, but he's drenched in blood. His helmet is off him. His hair is messed up. He's drenched in blood, and he's carrying the upper half of the crab feeder. He's cut in two. And he just walks over to his men and he tosses the body down. And hallelujah, he is victorious. That is how stubborn he is. He was willing to risk it all in the name of one-upping his brother because his brother's so weak. It's something I would do. I love it. I absolutely love it. This was a great, strong addition. And I cannot wait for the next chapter because it's going to mean all sorts of things. The brothers are friends again. Daemon can come to court again. They claim Rhaenyra's position is totally like solid. Is it? Is it solid? Now, I don't trust Viserys at all. I think he's a lesser man, not just in strength. I think that he is unable to even control his small council or anything. I think, honestly, literally his wife has more power than him, which is not... Which she was a 16-year-old girl he was taking advantage of, or he thought he was taking advantage of. It's not going to look good for him, to be honest. It's clear that he's going to eventually die and a civil war will break out between her and her baby brother. I just hope that happens sooner than later, because I can't wait to get rid of Viserys as a character. He really sickens me every time he's on the camera. But the real question is, what did you think about it? Please let me know down in the comments. Remember to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and keep tuning in to Voice of the Fat Mantis for more House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, all your fantasy and nerd needs, and all the news that's fit to print. Till next time, ciao for now.